How can you measure paddle surface friction? Have you ever wondered how the surface of your table tennis paddle affects your game? One key factor is surface friction. Understanding how to measure this can help you select the right paddle for your style. So, how can you measure paddle surface friction? First, let's talk about what surface friction is. It refers to the grip between the paddle's rubber and the ball. This grip affects how much spin and control you can generate. The friction is often expressed as the coefficient of friction, which quantifies this grip. One practical method to measure surface friction is the triangular raft or sled method. You create a small triangular sled supported by 3 small balls spaced about 2 centimeters apart. This sled should weigh around 100 grams. Place it on the paddle surface and slowly tilt the surface until the sled starts to slip. The angle at which it slips is recorded. The tangent of this angle gives you the static coefficient of friction. This method is straightforward and helps estimate friction by observing when the sled begins to slide. Another way to measure friction is by using a pulling force measurement. You can use the same sled and pull it horizontally across the paddle surface at a slow, constant speed, like 300 millimeters per minute. A force gauge measures the pulling force needed to keep the sled moving. The dynamic coefficient of friction is calculated by dividing the pulling force by the weight of the sled. This method measures friction while the sled is in motion. You can also use the ball holder slope method. Create a holder that fits several balls snugly and place it on the paddle surface. Tilt the paddle until the balls start to slide. The slope angle at that point can be used to calculate the friction coefficient. This method simulates the contact between the ball and paddle more directly, making it quite effective. To ensure consistent results, it is important to conduct measurements under standardized conditions. Use standardized balls and clean the paddle surface and balls to remove any dust or oils that could affect friction. Different rubbers and paddle surfaces have varying frictional properties, so testing should be specific to the paddle you are evaluating. Higher friction on the paddle surface allows for better grip on the ball, enabling players to generate more spin. Rubbers that are tacky or textured increase friction, which is why players often choose rubbers based on their frictional characteristics. Measuring friction can help in paddle selection and understanding how different rubbers affect ball behavior. In summary, you can measure paddle surface friction by observing the slip angle of a weighted sled, measuring the pulling force required to move a sled at a constant speed, or using a ball holder on an inclined surface. These methods provide the coefficient of friction, which is essential for understanding how much spin and control your paddle can impart on the ball during play.